Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Inuit Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'd like to introduce the panel members via Zoom this morning is Gail Anderson and Jerry Arnell. My name is Mike Colatruga. I'll be chairing this morning's hearing. And from the assessment department, we have Svetlana Shabel, and we have the administrative personnel this morning, Zach Mohan. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg Boardroom Vision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing is concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing application for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all evidence about the application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing items 1 through 8 on our docket today. Mr. Mohan, please affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony.
Of course, Mr. Chair, say for item 7, actually, right?
Yes, there is only 7 today, sorry.
Okay, Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
Svetlana Shabel.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Rocky Neufeld.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And 401 Graham Avenue is the first item on the docket. So Ms. Fable, could you please go through your submission this morning, please?
Which property? Could you repeat, please?
401 Graham Avenue.
Okay. File number 24-3775, roll number 120-9363-000. We did assess 2025 with reference date.
Madam Assessor, was that 4 zeros at the end?
4
Okay.
4
perfect.
zeros.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did assess 2025 with reference date, April 1st, 2023 at 1,512,000. 50% of the property has exemption for school exemption. The subject property, it's office building, 2-story building, original building 1947. with effective years built 1960. It's located in downtown South Portridge. Has land area of 5,080 square feet, plan area and basement area 4,900 square feet, gross floor area 14,700 square feet, ESS leasable area 9,035 square feet. On page number 2, this property was sold in 2020 from Kennedy Graham Investment Inc. to current owner for $2,950,000. This property has overall net lease estimated it's $12.40 per square foot. On same page I presented it's half occupied 4 units. You can see that in units 401, at least $21 per square foot. Units 200, $8 per square foot. Units 403, $6 per square foot. In units 407, $27.65 per square feet. Give us estimate value $17.12 per square foot if look by tenants roll. If you simply divide rent income around 109,000 to 9,035 square feet, give us $12.40 per square foot. On page number 3, start air photo and street view. We can see that the subject property located in downtown, 2-floor building, close to the Hudson Bay. More photos happened, posted on through 4, 5, rectangle shape of land, facing Graham, in located zoning a multi-use sector. On page number 7, I presented market income for office building. We did assess for taxable portion 3,605 square feet at overall $17.03. Give us 61,377 potential rent. On same page on the bottom, I presented 5 comparables. You can see that all comparables located same neighborhood, South Portridge. My first comparables 155 Fort, second floor, around 4.7 thousand square feet land, land lease for $14 per square foot, 140 Gary Street. Same neighborhood, built in 1995, 3-floor building at $18 per square foot. Comparable 171 Donald Street, 4th floor, rent for $22 per square foot for 1,200 square feet. Original building built in 1964. Another comparables 183 Kennedy Street, 2nd floor, 6.2 thousand square feet, rent for $14.52. Comparables on 143 Smith, 2nd floor, rent for $15.81. Give us mean $16.87, in media $15.81. For this type of properties, we use vacancy loss 11% across the city. 3% not recoverable expenses, shortfall $8 per square foot for vacant space, give us net operating income 49,815. Overall capitalization rate 5.85%, give us estimate value of 858,000 for taxable portion. On page number 8, we provide school exemption portion 5,430 square feet, rent at $9.25 because it's 2nd floor. Give us potential rent of $50,228. We apply same 11% vacancy loss for office buildings, 3% not recoverable expenses, $8 per square foot shortfall, or for vacant space give us net operating income 38,584. Capitalization rate 5.85 gives us estimate value of 654,000. On page number 9, summary. So all these two stream give us estimate value together 1,512,000. On page number 10, its capitalization rate for the city, 16% of the property compared to Colliers, Siberi, Cushman. On page number 12 to 13, income expense mailer provided for us. It showed that it's net leases. Check net leases. We have some recoveries. On page number 14, I look at permits, what happened with this property between 2015 and 2021, 300,000 was in interior renovation. On page 15, last permits in 2021, Kid Fink, Paragmis Insurance, occupation permit. On page 16, started my income, my comparables. You can see air photo and street view. So my first 140 Gary Street, 3-floor building at $18 per square foot for 74,248 square feet. On page 17, 183 Kennedy, second floor for $14.52, 2-floor building, similar to the subject property. On page number 18, we have 143 Smith, second floor occupied for rent $15.81. It's 2-floor building like subject property with basement. On page number 19, we have two comparables. 155 Fort on first floor and second floor, rent for $14 per square foot. No, second units, it's 1-story building. On page number 20, I have 4-floor building on 171 Donald, 4-floor rent for $22 per square foot. It's following by income expense by property assessment notice and appeal. Based on evidence presented in my brief, the market value of subject property at April 1st, 2023, 1,512,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Mr. Neufeld, questions of the assessor?
Yes. Valuation page 8, was this done by the model?
Correct.
And how did the effective year get changed from 1947 to 1960?
If you look on my permits, I look into size 2015 and 2021. Some interior renovation was done. And usually office building stay without touching 16 years. So every time renovation done, we have to increase effective years built to be consistent.
That sorry, the page on that was page 15.
It's on page 14.
14. Oh, there. Okay. Sorry, I was just looking at the one on page 15 for moving partitions. How does moving a partition change the effective age?
I already explained that office building can stand only 16 years. It should be renovated or demolished. That's why after we have to increase effective years built. So our model work proper way.
On the rents that you have listed here, just clarify something here. You have, sorry, I'm gotta find the right page here. Oh, page 7. number 2, 114 Gary, you say story 3. Are you telling us that it's the 3rd story that's renting here?
No, it's whole building, 74,248 square feet, rent for $18 per square foot.
Okay, so, okay, and are you aware that that is a gross lease, Government of Manitoba, with a base year?
I know that it's net lease. I personal verify.
Personally, okay, I'm Colliers manages it, so this is where I'm coming from. So you're not aware it's a base year. Okay, fine. Next one, 171 Donald. It's a 1-year term, correct?
One check. On Donald, yes, between September to June for $1,222 per square foot. It's located on 4 floor
And
units.
do you what is happening to the building now? Do you know?
I was looking for leases, similar properties before
Okay,
reference date
not
only.
my question. You're aware that that's a termination lease? I don't know if you're familiar with the term.
I know that lease in place, net lease and $22 per square foot.
Okay. Capitalization rate from your table, page 10. This is under what classification? I'm trying to figure this out. You have it as OFS, so does that mean it's OFS?
It's downtown offices between 5.9 to 7%.
Downtown, is there a particular row that I should be looking at on page 10?
I just all 3 rows. We can check so second from 5.9 to 7, all downtown offices. 60% of property in this range.
And how many investment sales downtown does the city have in their database for producing the cap rate?
I don't have answer. I'm not part of modeling.
Those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Questions, Ms. Anderson?
Yes, just in regards to the overall square foot lease rate, what's the blended rate for the entirety of the building?
$12.35.
$12.35, okay. And as well, just in regards to the cap rate on page 10, then this cap rate, it's model generated by
Correct.
5.85, and the city's threshold, like 20th percentile, the lowest is 5.9. And so this is a building built in 1947. That just seems pretty
Yes,
low.
correct. Because our 5.9 to 7 and only 60% of the property. This property 1.5 million, usually property before 2 million in value, sell more often, that bring capitalization rate very small to 5.85 because more people want to buy this property. So our model, when we estimate or sell across the city, shows 5.85 for this type.
Okay, because there'd be more sales.
Yeah, more sales
market.
and correct, and more people can afford to buy this type of property.
Okay.
That's why small property, low capitalization rate.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amell, any questions, sir?
Actually, my question's been answered. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and I don't believe I have any further questions.
Redirect?
Can we have your presentation?
Yeah, just a brief redirect.
Sorry, go ahead, sir.
You made a statement saying that small buildings have lower capitalization rates. Could you please tell us your experience in selling buildings?
Our statistical data showed.
I'm asking, is your statement, it wasn't in here.
I do verification.
It wasn't, sorry, it wasn't in your evidence. You made that claim. I'm assuming it's a personal observation. Do you have experience in this field?
Yes, and this
selling
field
properties?
in office building I work 10 years, and I do self verification. In my observation showed
Okay.
that what my statement. I'm a professional witness. I have diploma from University of British Columbia. So a professional here. Is my statements should
Thank
be.
you. I just wanted to clarify that. I'm
Thank
ready
you.
to move
Thank
on.
you very much. Go
It
ahead,
took me-
Mr. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Neufeld, on your presentation, sir.
I lost it. One sec. It's okay. Yes, it was pointed out there's a few typos on this page, more than one. It's stated incorrectly on the 25 assessment, and of course it is what the assessment briefs indicates. The other thing I was going to point out is because I had a chance to look at it and consult, the vacancy rate we put on it is incorrect. This is not a Class C building, it's a miscellaneous. And as such, the rate that we should have been using is 11.4%. And very similar to what the assessor has on it. And that changes our income. We are using the actual income, and it's virtually identical to what the owner has submitted. On page 3, there's the floor rentals are net based, and then there's additional income coming from the basement storage units. And these are lockers, and they do get rent. So what we've treated them as is contribution to overhead is what we call it. And the number there is, I think, I can't even read this, looks like 7650. Which added to approximately 109 on the other side, and it balances off to what we put in at 114, 123 actual income. With the 11.4% vacancy, that changes our potential to 101,113 rather than what was presented at 89,473. Everything else. Sorry, I'm just pausing for a second here. Yes, everything else remains the same. Shortfall is significantly higher, and that's because costs of operation are higher to maintain it. The cap rate at 9% was selected for a couple of reasons. And the building has gone through many trials in its lifetime, and it was actually purchased originally for more of a call center use, which did not work out at all, abandoned, and right now it's it stood vacant for the second floor stood vacant for years, like 10 years. Now there is a user in it, and we are dealing with the difficulties with a 9% cap rate. In addition, the location is not premium downtown, being by the bay. Sorry, the former bay is absolutely no treat. It's not able to attract any quality tenants. It's a local use tenant. The second floor tenant is a charity, and the other tenants are not exactly what you'd call the building. Sorry, the building does not have the capability of attracting a premium user, and that is the building's issue. And it's a small floor plate and an inferior class of building. Now, I was going to address a couple of things here. I totally forgot to ask these questions, but that's fine. I'm going to address it in description of the building. There have been, since I started in this business in 97, I think this building and its attached building have sold about 5 times. And there's always been someone who's been attempting to do something in it. Now, the sales that the assessor is reporting on page 2, which is the last sale, is a portfolio sale, including a 247 Kennedy. And it's also between, how do I put this? The last name of each of the principals was the same. It was a marital estate settlement. It is not a valid sale. An allocation of assets for marital estate. And I'm uncomfortable talking about people's personal business in a board, but when evidence has been presented without clarification, I guess we have to cross the line. The other thing I was going to say in rebuttal was that that the assessor rents 155 Fort is a brew pub. 114 Gary is a what's called a base year lease to the Manitoba government. Our office manages. It is not net. 171 Donald was sold for multi-purpose development. That is a termination lease, which means you have 1 year left to get out. And 143 Smith, if I believe, is a church. I'm familiar with it because one of my former colleagues was doing the real estate work on it. So these are very bizarre comparables used to support this. I think the primary issue here is that the historical paid rent, this is at its high point right now. And that is why we capped it at a higher rate, because being at the high point, it's only got one way to go, which is down. So sorry, I didn't give you the final number here with my changes.
No, you did not.
Okay, here we go. NOI 79,317. 9%.
Sorry, 79,000.
317.
Thank you.
Value is 881,299. The ratio of 40S to 60T, and I'm just give you the numbers rounded, would be 40S is 381,000 and 60T is 500,000. And that's the same ratio that the assessors put on it. Because the exempt properties on the second floor, they get can achieve only a lower rent, so that explains why it's not a 50-50 split on the site.
Mr. Neufeld, can I just interrupt you for just a moment? The rent that you're using, the net rent, is $1,263 overall then, sir?
That is correct.
Okay, so that has not changed.
Yeah. Right.
And you are at 114,123 for the net income at this point, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you've used what vacancy, sir?
11.4%.
Okay, thank you. And expenses, 3%, sir?
Non-recoverables are applied at 5% and structural reserve at 2%.
Okay, thank you very much. And your shortfall is still at 1429, sir?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to review all the numbers, and I am not hard on that number, that's for sure. I cannot comment on that, but we don't really have an issue with what the model put on it. That's not the basis of our appeal. It's the rent and the cap.
Okay.
I don't even know what the model put on it. 8%.
What, sir?
$8. Yes, sorry, $8. Yeah. I was just trying to do the math, and it looks like the operating costs are about a little over $100,000 on 9,000 feet. So, sorry, 90,000 on 9,000 feet. No, I'm sorry. I'm woke up too early today. I think they're 84,000 on 9,000 feet. So that would indicate about 933 a foot. So I think that's incorrect. Do you want me to? I can do a real quick recalculation on this if you want.
If you feel the need that you need to do that, sir, please do so. If not, we can move forward with the information you provided to this point. Your call, sir.
No,
We do need to keep moving.
I think
Sorry.
this one was beset by typos, and that's why I wanted to change it. I don't know what happened here, but yes, I've changed it to $8 shortfall. And NOI is 85,795.
85.
795, and values 953,000, which would be 40S 413,000, 60T 540,000.
Sorry, and the NOI was 885, 795, sir?
85795.
Sorry, I'm having a moment.
Oh,
My apologies.
No.
Repeat the NOI for me, please.
85795.
Okay, sorry.
And I don't want to prolong this, but I can get at it in the next hearing, next one. But there are some cap rate comparables, real ones, better buildings on in the report around page 50. 50. 50, yeah, 50, page 50. 49 and 50. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. That wrap it up for you, sir?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shable, any questions at this point?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Isn't true that you use original rent for the subject property?
What do you mean by original?
No, from statement, how much
Actual,
overall
yes.
rent, actual.
Yes, I have used actual.
You would you agree that you don't use actual net operating income provided by owner of 150,000?
Well, to quote our multiple textbooks, the actual income is the most accurate way to determine what the potential income could be on a property, and it is up. Our onus on an appraiser is to disprove it if we don't, or we have to prove there's a reason to not use it, rather than the opposite. And there's nothing to disprove this, Brent. I've worked on this building, as I said, for over 20 years, and very, very familiar with its performance over time and for its building type.
Would you agree that a sale for 2.9 million in 2014 for property only 1.5 million in 2025 showed that capitalization rate should be much lower here?
I have already addressed that. The sale was for a multi-role facility in a divorce settlement. It is not a market transaction.
Just for statement, it's market transaction. It's analyzed by our department. Thank you. No further
Don't
questions.
ask me questions about what your department does. Ask me questions about reality.
No further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Neufeld, I think we get it here.
Sorry.
Questions, Mr. Amell?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson?
Just one,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir.
sorry, I just want clarification on the NOI. Is it 85,795?
Um,
I believe that's what I heard.
yes, that's correct.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Just in regards to your cap rate, Mr. Neufeld, of 9% requested, you said the evidence is on page 49 and 50 of your.
Oh, so let me just double check that. You might have differently paged because I was making changes here. Yes, no, that's right. Page 49 and 50. There's there are two Superior buildings. 155 Carlton, a couple blocks away, 9%, and 363 Broadway, 12%. Both Superior buildings.
Okay.
Those are the only investment sales we could find on office in Winnipeg.
Okay.
May I ask questions about cap rate?
Go ahead.
It is 155 Carlton. It's over 280,000 square feet. Capitalization rate estimation. I would agree that this huge building cannot be comparison with 10,000 square feet of subject property.
The building is superior in that it has better financial and more stable financial performance. So the position we're putting forward is it's going to get a lower cap rate than a miscellaneous one located near a defunct department store. This one is right across the street from the convention center. It's not the best part of downtown, but it's what should be regarded as really in between 21 and 23. That's the lowest cap rate we've seen in office. It's a poor performing market.
On same page 49, 155 Carlton, you show that it share sale. Would you agree that this share sale is still on open market? So you did estimation of cap rate?
No, the share sale is because it was transferred between large investment firms, and these firms put separate titles on each of their buildings, and then they don't run their accounts with retained earnings or deferred depreciation costs. They're run with under the IFRS standard. So you'll generally find that a share sale is a good indication and they are transacted in the open market because companies like ours are involved with them. You won't see them advertised necessarily on MLS because that's not where the buyers are. But there is a very active market.
I think we have the flavor of it at this point. So unless there's something else.
I have last questions. You state that subject property sale in 2014 for 2.5 million was share sale. It's not, you don't consider it's open market?
No, I said it was a portfolio sale and it was a settlement in a marital estate. It's not a market transaction.
Could you explain difference between portfolio sale and share sale?
A portfolio sale is multiple buildings and could include other assets. Often there's a property management revenue considered, whereas a share sale, the transfer is of the company that owns the building rather than the title.
Would you agree that sale of subject property in 2014 by investing close to 30,000 in renovation, secure a rent for 120,000. It's real investment. It's not portfolio sale.
I think what I saw of the permits is nothing of consequence on the value because all office buildings go through costs. And in Winnipeg, beginning around 2007, the minute you do anything to a building, you move a partition as one of your permits indicates, then they do a full code review. So then the city requires the HVAC to be changed to the 2007 National Building Code sometimes that they will have the sprinkler system to have to be updated to the, I think it's the 2016 building code. That's what happens when you take out a permit these days. It's just the cost of doing business. Nothing on, not something they wanted to spend money on. It's just the nature of the business. That's why non-recoverables are so high, is because the costs you have to incur. A simple changeover of a tenant, you replace the rugs and move a door, you got to take a permit out, and it escalates.
Would you agree all leases started after sale or a renovation?
No, I don't.
On page 13, it's clear showed income expense mailer, or for leases happen after renovation. So this property was bought for 2.9 million, put renovation in, and secure nice rent, net rent, clear net rent.
Again.
That covered by all expenses to maintain building and give us 145,000 net operating income, just provided by the owner. What's wrong with this building, in your opinion?
Okay, let's go back to your multi-question. First of all, again, it was a portfolio sale. There were two buildings involved, and it wasn't a sale. Secondly, what you're stating is normal business activity, and at the end of the day, their NOI is the potential income is $114,000 after any consideration for any changes. So yeah, you know, if it's done after some input of costs, that means it's real. It means that we're not using an old rent and trying to capture an old rent for a higher quality, theoretically.
And let me interrupt for just a moment, please. Let me point out very plainly here. You have a rent, Mr. Neufeld, of $12.63 overall. Ms. Shable, you have a rent of $12.35. You guys are talking about a very minimal difference overall. So, Ms. Shable, please, we understand what you're trying to say, but
I point not rent, I point net operating income.
well, at the end of the day, your positions of actual where you're starting of net rents are fairly close. So let's keep this moving. You don't.
Okay, thank you.
The point is, you've made the point. Let's go forward, please.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, like we're talking, you know, less than $0.50 difference between the two positions.
Yeah, okay, there's nothing to pick from there. You're right.
Exactly.
There's no
move on here,
debate.
people, please.
It's the cap rate.
It is cap rate, sir, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now where was I? I don't believe I have any questions. So is there any summation or is there rebuttal here yet?
No, thank you.
No rebuttal? All right. And any summation from either party?
No, thank you.
Just as far as the cap rate goes, the market is performing poorly. The evidence we've shown you is showing that there's been a change in usage for office buildings because they're no longer in demand. It's declined, and they're changing to multifamily or they're selling at very high cap rates. That's just the market for you. And I know it's been stated at other times that the city has no post 2021 data on cap rates. So, but that, I don't think you classify that as hearsay, but there is a lack of data in the marketplace. But our research is accurate as to what the market actually looks like in office.
Thank you very much. With that, we conclude this particular property. We will move on to 275 Notre Dame Avenue. Ms. Shable, your presentation on this, and please streamline this as best as you can. We have moved on far too long with the first property, so we really do have to go faster. Please, thank you.
File number 24-4380. Roll number 1306003900. We assess 2025 Miss Market reference date April 1st, 2023 at 1,369,000 property full school exemption. It's office building built in 1981, located in downtown 170 Exchange District, has land area 9,856 square feet, plan area 2,161 square feet, and gross area 4,320 square feet, and leasable area 402,020 square feet. On page number 2, property change hunt in 2017. It's not, we don't verify TSL because it's $1 at state. The subject property net lease found at $15.40. You can see, you can divide monthly rent by square footage, multiply by 12 months, give us $15.40. It's subject property lease. On page 3, started air photo and street view of subject property. It's located in downtown, 2-floor buildings, rectangle shape of land. Continue on page number 4 and 5. Located in zoning C character sector. Our assessment on page number 6. The subject property has 22 parking stalls. We assess at monthly net units rent dollar per stall 80. Give an annual rent 21,120. It's net operating income. Overall capitalization rate for parking lot 5.15%. Give us estimate value 410,000. I did provide 5 parking lots on Cumberland, 0 Cumberland, 311 Cumberland, 330 Donald, 160 Donald, and 168 Edmonton Street. Give us stabilized net operating income per stall per month. Average $144.60, in media $82.75. We did assess it's $18. It's fair. On page number 7, office building part, assess 4,320 square feet at $13.87. Give us estimate value of potential rent $59,980. I did present comparables on same page on the bottom. We already look at my comparables: 155 Fort, 114 Gary, 117 One Donald, 183 Kennedy, and 143 Miff Street. I have added 62 Hargrave, units 205, and 140 Bannatyne 200. So Hargrave rent for $15.10 overall 1,000 square feet. And Bannatyne second floor rent for 2,500 square feet at $13.50. Give us overall mean or average $16.30, in media $15.10. We assess it's $13.87. It's fair. We did apply same 11% vacancy loss, 3% not recoverable expenses, $8 per square foot for vacant space. Give us net operating income, so 47,925. Model generate 5% capitalization rate. Give us estimate value of office portion 959,000. On page number 8, a summary of both parking lot and office building. Give us estimation 1,369,000. On page 11, started my comparables through page 17. We look on page 16, only my comparables, new comparables, not presented in previous case. 62 Hargrave, units 105. You can see it's a one-story building, rent for $15.10. On page 17, 140 Bannatyne. It's a 3-story building, more or less 3-story. On second floor, rent for $13.50. On page 18, I look last permits, what's happened with the subject property was interior alteration for a new tenants, newcomer employment, education, development service. So it's they occupied properties at White School exempt. On page 21, property assessment following by appeal. Based of my evidence presented the April 1st, 2023 market value of subject property, 1,369,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. And Mr. Neufeld, questions, please.
Yes, the value indicated on page 8, is this done by the model?
Correct.
And you've actually, so on this stream, PKL means parking
Parking
and OFS.
parking lot.
Okay, and OFS means the building.
Office under 4-story.
So in this instance, there the capitalization rate for the office is lower than for the parking. I'm just wondering, does your model not understand the concept of a wasting asset?
The subject property leasable area less around 4,000 square feet, so that why capitalization row gate is lower, just to defend at least land area. It's very small building.
On you have listed an excerpt from the return on page 2 and on page 19. Do any of these statements indicate that they're earning parking income?
For subject property, you can see that they lease and $15.40. We assess on $13.87. If you
Wasn't the question. Is there parking income on any of these forms?
our rent selected by model much lower than existing rent.
Ms. Shable,
And
he's asking
rent,
a very, very specific question.
no,
It's a very
but
simple
parking
answer.
lot, but parking in downtown very valuable.
I understand that, but he's asked you a question with respect to parking on the statements that they have provided to the department. Is there anything showing for parking? I don't see it. I believe he doesn't see it either. That's what he's asking.
No, but parking very valuable
I
for the
understand.
subject property.
I
So we
understand
assess
that.
this. Correct.
But he asked a
Thank you.
very, very specific question, which is there parking showing? And there is not. So the answer is no, there isn't any parking showing on the statements provided by the owners, correct?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
You made a statement about rent. I didn't catch all of it, but are you suggesting that the rent they're indicating on page 20 and page 19 is net or gross?
It's a net lease, a net rent, $15.40 per square foot.
On page 19, they have checked off gross.
It's net lease.
You're calling it net, the owner calls it gross. Okay.
Sometimes check mark, but if you look on page 19 of my page, you can see that all utilities paid by the tenants. It's clean net lease.
On page 19, does that not indicate management, insurance, maintenance, and taxes are paid by the owner of the property?
Correct. Insurance management and any renovation to provide suitable renter space, it's have to be paid by tenant, by owner.
Okay, and
It's not or part of
Line,
net lease.
do you know why line 215 or 216, I'm sorry, is showing a credit this particular year?
Could you repeat your questions?
Do you know why line 216 is showing a credit for the 2022 year?
I don't see this. Each
Page
credit.
19, Ms. Shable.
Hmm?
Page 19, he's referring
Okay,
page 19, line 216 in the income and expense mailer.
okay, property taxes.
Do you know why it's showing a credit for this year?
Because it's paid by tenants, owner doesn't pay it. It's part of net lease.
Do you know this to be true, or is just your guess?
It's my statement. It's net lease.
Please give me an answer. Is this your
It's
guess?
paid by tenants
Is
because
this-
it's recovered by tenants.
Is this your guess, or is this you putting this forward as a fact?
I'm putting like fact how I read this income
Okay.
expense
Thank you,
mailer.
Mr. Chairman. The assessor is lying then, if it's a fact.
You can see it's bracket because it's paid by tenants. When
Thank
it's
you.
net lease, tenants pay
Those
accommodation
I think
and
we
taxes.
understand.
Those are my questions. I'm finished.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate where you're going with this, sir, so let's move on. Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
And Mr. Amell, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Neufeld, let's have
Okay.
your presentation, please.
275 Notre Dame, built as a donut shop. Everybody knows this. There used to be donuts on the main floor and a little office on the second floor. Donut shop went out of business, and there was a bunch of users on it, but eventually my client bought the building, and he has a tenant who was next door in 228 Notre Dame that he expanded over and got them space in this building. I don't know why it's showing as $1. I have no idea, because I know that they paid, they bought an arm's length transaction. This company is, okay. The 500,000 is correct. I don't know why it's showing as $1 though. That's what they paid for it. The income information that we provided, I believe the people who made this were a bit confused because they didn't understand why is there a credit in the property taxes. So as a result, they used the 2020 statement, but it does not change our position. Going to the assessor's evidence, which is, I do not dispute their statement from the accuracy of the statement from 2022, and that would be on pages 19. I think it's a little clearer to use it. Page 20 is the rent is gross, and it was $6,300 a month, and it changed to $6,660 in December of 22. So that is the number we're using. It includes parking. That's part of the deal. If there's parking that the landlord is subletting out, or he's got other users, well, he does have other users there in the building at 228 Notre Dame. So that's why it was of interest to them, because it gave them parking for their operation. So there's no extra money being generated from a parking revenue stream. You can see on page 19, gross rent 86,442. The expenses are as they are, insurance, management, and maintenance. The tax is a negative, and it's not my fault. It was my doing. This is when we got the classification changed to school exempt, and the city gave them a refund on previous years. So the actual tax load would be approximately $10,000. So that number should have been stabilized out. So as a result, the 55,000 changing from a $5,500 credit, I should say, to a $10,000 expense is a net change in the NOI of $15,500. So the 62,964 minus the 15,500 is 47,464. And let's just see, we used 53,000 on page 1. So we went a little bit higher than their actuals, and that's because the maintenance supplies, in our opinion, were too high this year. So we trimmed it by a few $1,000s, by I guess $6,500, with an estimated net income of $53,000. The vacancy, I don't even know where that came from. I'm looking for the class on my. I think it should be like 11.4. And I can change it, or I can give you an estimate of where this should come in.
Your call, Mr. Newful, just if you can just keep it moving, please.
That's the idea. So I want to speed this up. I think that vacancy should be at 11.4, and I think the shortfall should be lower. We're just going to change this to, I want to get a real, let's see, to $41,250
NOI,
NOI, just on adjustment on that.
so 41,000, sorry,
41,250.
thank you.
And cap rate remains the same. It's a failed property and a different use. It's small. It's not a great investment. In this particular case, the reason we would consider a more aggressive capitalization rate was that they have parking to sell with their property. Normally, this would be in that 9% area, but with the parking, 8.25 is fair, and that works out to a rate of $500,000, which is what they paid for it.
That's your presentation, sir.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Questions, Ms. Shable?
Yes, please. Agent has stated that cap rate very high because it's parking to sell. So in your opinion, parking lot, it's very valuable or not?
No, what I said was that it is not a great building. It's failed in its previous uses, not just the donut shop, but there were about 2 other people in there beforehand, and it sat vacant for a long time. So it's not desirable for the building. Typically, I would expect to see a 9 plus cap on that with that sort of risk level. But because it has parking, the interest is a bit greater, but because there's always going to be the capacity to have, if your building is empty, generate some money by parking. And as a result, it's not, it mitigates the poor quality of the as a tenanted property, as a leasable property. And right now, all they have in there are charitable organizations who are looking for basic space. That's the nature of this type of building, as was with the previous one. So rather than 9, we estimated at 8.25 because there's a mitigation factor.
You would state that parking generate income, correct?
No, it does not right now.
Open page number 3 of agent brief.
The whole building is under lease.
About vacancy, you can see that size 2018 Robertson College one inside, it's true?
Yes.
And they ended lease in 2020 and current tenants move in?
They moved in, yeah. Robertson departed in January, 6 months vacant, and then Needs moved in.
So last size 2018, it's 7 years, it's occupied building, correct?
No, there's a period of a half year of empty.
But we look for 2023.
And sorry. And during its lifespan, it has been vacant for long periods. Prior to the owner purchasing it, it was vacant. After the donut shop failed, I don't know what they did. They just closed up, but it was vacant. It has had a history of vacancy, and this is not so much a market-driven factor as it is the building-driven factor. It's out of place and it always has been out of place in downtown, and less desirable.
But would you agree market evidence showed in 2023, last 5 years, it's full occupied building, it's no vacancy issue? Yes, no?
Wait a sec, it was occupied July 2020, and it runs to 2025.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson, questions at this point?
I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amell, questions?
No questions, thanks.
And I have no further questions unless there's a summation on either party. No?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on.
Can we have 5 minutes break?
Okay, quick 5 minutes then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. We move on to 520 Hargrave Street. Ms. Shable, can we have your presentation on this, please?
Class and liability.
Oh, apparently there's class and liability on top of this, Mr. Neufeld. Is there still class and liability issues here, sir?
Oh, you're
And you muted, sir.
Sorry, what the file number again was?
The file number is 24-4322.
4322. No, there are no issues relating to class reliability.
Okay, are you going to be sending
Absolutely no time on it whatsoever. Please confirm them. That's
enough.
the speediest way.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Shable, go ahead, please.
File number 24-4322, roll number 130 610 72100. We did assess 2025 with market reference day April 1st, 2023 at 574,000, full school exempt. The subject property office building, original built in 1982 with addition 1966. It's located West Alexander neighborhood, land area 10,719 square feet, plan area 706 square feet, has basement 432 square feet, give us gross floor area 1,137, assess leasable area 706 square feet. On page number 2, we can see sale in 2013, but it's a multi-sale involved, several properties, multi-role sale. The subject property has existing lease. 520 for 907 square feet at step rent annual $17.06. On page number 3, it's last line, anti-statement. On page number 3, air photo and street view. So subject property located and close to downtown, northwest side of the city, 1-floor building, street view on the page 3 through 5. It's rectangle shape of land. So on page number 5, you can see it's a small building, purple line, small building with parking, huge parking lot. On page number 6, characteristic, zoning C character sector. So our income approach started with parking lot estimation value. We assess 39 parking stall at $45 monthly per units per stall, give us annual rent or net operating income $21,060. Model generate 5% capitalization rate, give us $421,000 estimate value of parking lot. On same page, on page number 7, I presented 9 comparables, parking lot comparables. My first comparable doesn't have address,
I
but
don't
it's
think we need to go through each one in particular.
okay.
Just
And
give us
I think.
Range and the median and mean, that would be plenty. of it.
Mean or average $87.35, 57 cents, or median $65.42. We assess $45 per square foot per month per stall. It's fair. On page number 8, assessment of 706 square feet of office space, we assess at $14.55, give us $10,185 potential rent. I did present a new set of comparables on page number 8 on the bottom. You can see that subject property located 105 West Alexander. Took first comparables, 825 Sherbrooke, same neighborhood building built in 63. Rent around 3,000 square feet at $15 per square foot. 490 Hargrave, it's the same neighborhood, West Alexander, building built in 1988. Rent for over 20,000 square feet at $16 per square foot. I present closest neighborhood, Earl Grey, it's 440 Pembina Highway, around 5,000 square feet at $16.90. 774 Caridon, $17.50 over close to 3,000 square feet. 776 Caridon, $14.50, 1.7 thousand square feet. In my last comparable, 784 Caridon, $1,000 at $18, give us mean $16.52 and media $16.45. We did assess it's $14.55. It's very well supported by my comparables. It's fair. Vacancy loss for this building 6%. 3% not recoverable expenses, and shortfall $8 per square foot. Give us net operating income $8,951. Model generate 5.85% capitalization rate. Give us estimation of small office space $153,000. On page number 9, summary above incomes. It gives us estimation together $574,000. I have capitalization rate table following up. All my comparables on page number 12 started. We can click quickly. Sherbrooke, 825 Sherbrooke, 4-floor building, rent for $15 per square foot on main floor. 419 Hargrave, 2-floor building, rent for $16 per square foot, over close to 21,000 square feet. On page 14, 400 Pembina, 2-floor building, rent around 5,000 square feet at $16.90. On page 15, free rents on Caridon, very old building, original build 1912, rent between $14.50 to $18 per square foot, 1-floor buildings. On page number 16, I look current permit in 2018, occupancy only art gallery inside. On page 17, income expense Miller provided for us. Through page 18. On page 18, bigger space, you can see 520 office, it's last line. Rent start in 2022 to 2024. It's gross rent. It's clearly showed $17.86. On page 19, property assessment notice following by appeal authorization letter. Based on my evidence analysis, April 1st, 2023 market value of subject property, $574,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Mr. Newbell, questions?
Yes. Sorry, was all the valuation done by the model?
Correct.
Page 7, what is the gross rent used? Do you know it?
On page 7, we have $45 monthly net units rent, dollar per stall. give us net operating income 21,016.
The rent that you've used is $45 per stall, which is net. What is the gross number?
It's estimated monthly net units per rent per stall. You can see my comparables monthly can rent between $95 to $220 on same page on bottom line, monthly rent.
Right. Do you have what the model generates for a gross rent?
A model generate monthly net units rent per stall, analyze all comparable property for 2024, reported rate for surface parking. How model came to this number?
Okay, but I just want
I
to.
don't have this number. It's
Okay, that's what I was asking.
because we need to estimate net operating income.
Thank you very much. Let's move on.
And on page the statement, page page 17. Is there any income for the parking in the statement?
It's on statement, I don't see it.
Okay, so.
But you would agree that parking, if you look on page, to example, 5 of my brief, small office space and everything, it's parking lot.
Okay, and on the topic here then of that particular page, you show rental income and rental expenses for the building only then, or did you look through the expenses?
To go for an expenses, I cannot do it because if you look on page number 18, it's involved 3 different office space, 3 different properties. On page 18, it's involved 357 Hargrave, and 520 Hargrave. It's I can look only and rent.
Okay,
but
but
income has 2 properties reported. So by the way, in future we will ask for not for not cooperation because for us it should be clearly separated.
well,
I will put notes for myself. Thank you for bringing this up.
thank you for making the threat.
Not threat. It's just you make good point. I
It's
cannot.
not appropriate here.
It's I cannot
Let's
separate.
move on, please.
Okay, on page, going back to page 17,
Okay.
on the expenses, there's $39,105 of an expenses. Do they all pertain to the building improvement, or do you have a breakdown between the parking and the building improvement?
My question, I cannot answer because it's talking about 357 Hargrave as well. I don't have full separation provided by the owner, what we requested.
So, but on the basis of this statement alone, 54,000 in expenses and $21,000 in income, a negative of over $33,000, correct?
All these expenses could be 357 Hargrave. It's not a property under appeal. No
Are you
answer.
suggesting the expenses belong somewhere else?
If you look on page number 18, it shows 2 different properties on this.
Again, is this assumptions and speculation, or do you know?
No, you can see Hargrave. We have 357 Hargrave and 520 Hargrave, 2 properties
I'm just
reported to us.
Is this your assumption or your?
It's not assumption. It's
opinion?
clearly reported to us.
Is your estimate of value, or are you presenting this as a fact?
I just see. I talk what I see presented to us.
Okay.
When you can see a units code, it's 2 different properties. Subject property,
I
third
think
line.
we understand. Let's keep moving, please.
Those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amell, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
And Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, and I have no further questions. Mr. Neufeld, can we have your presentation on this, please?
Yeah, our presentation is, the person who made this up, did not know what property we were dealing with, so it doesn't really help you in any way whatsoever.
All right.
But I'll just briefly address the issue here.
Go ahead.
This is, parking for 490 Hargrave, which is an access center. They rent 490 Hargrave along with two parking lots, one at 500 and one at 520. And they pay rent in the 490 lease because it's under one lease only. So the income for this property from parking is contained already in the I think the assessor was referring to this income of $31,647,000 for 4,500 square feet. I'm just trying to read this. I don't know what that's for, but I know because we have all the leases and we work with the tenant, is that there are provisions for payment of parking stalls in the head lease for 490 Hargrave. And we're not disputing the parking allocation at all. What we are disputing is the building, because as you can see from the statements that the assessor has presented, and if you go through these on a line item basis and try to break it down, where does it go for parking or for the building? There's no money left at the end of the day. The building is not earning any money. My client's concern is that they need to see this clarified as to how much of the assessment is going to a different party and how much is for their usage of it, and to deal with their landlord on recoveries. My opinion on this is this is, and I've been in this building before, a few years ago, is obsolete. It's not contributing any monetary value. They would be better off to bulldoze it and get more parking space out of it, because if you're generating zero net income on a building when you could replace it with a stall that could generate I guess probably maybe 3 or 4 more parking spaces, your highest and best use is addressed by that basis. So our request is twofold. One is the revenue stream for the improvement is zero, because it's not generating any income. And if the board does put a value on it, could you please clarify in your order that what that number might be, so that the WHA can clarify with their landlord as to what percentage of the tax that they must pay on this property. And that wasn't the real intent on filing an appeal, to get you to do the work to clarify who pays for what, but it was. I'm sorry, I'm more knowledgeable about this than the people who prepare it, but they didn't get it right. That's fine, but the building's not worth anything. The building is a hindrance to achieving the highest and best use, which is parking. That's our position. And the statements bear it out. The evidence bears that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Neufeld, just so I understand, the breakdown that the assessor has shown you, $421,000 for the parking component of this versus $153,000 that has been attributed to the value of the building. That's what you're looking for, sir? Or...
Yes, we're not contesting the 421,000 for the parking. We are contesting that the building has no economic contribution to the value of the land. It's actually it's generating negative income, and it could be generating more if it was bulldozed and parking was put in.
And then I'm going to ask the simple question from you, sir. What is your thought on the valuation? 421,000 then? Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that your presentation, sir?
Yes, that is it.
Thank you. Ms. Shable, questions?
Yes, please. You inspected this property. Have you inspected?
Yes, I did at one point.
Okay. How it is small building use?
Um, it's got a they call it an art gallery. It's kind of just a shed, not a shed, but a very old building that is in use by some artists. So that's it contributes something to our society in the art world, but not to our society in terms of value.
Would you agree that this art project space generate income?
It is negative income.
It's but if you look on income spends provided for us 16,200 per year.
That income is gross. And when you look at the operating expenses, for example, cleaning, HVAC, plumbing, that occurs inside the building, not in on the parking lot. No plumbing in the parking lot. Security and fire protection, that's the building. Utilities, that is obviously a shared expense. General administrative shared expense. Insurance is predominantly the building because you don't really need insurance on a parking lot because there's nothing to insure except the fence. And I haven't, I mean, a rough calculation of taking these expenses, some prorated and some all to do with the building, would indicate that there's no positive income being generated from
So
the
you
building.
state that parking area 10,790 square feet, it just generate parking revenue, correct?
Well, the highest and best use is parking revenue, and
You talk about
the building gets in the way.
existing leases for this parking. How much this stall rent for?
I was just trying to find out. Our number is gross, and I have it in my lease file somewhere, but I think it's approximately $70 gross, and that's why I was asking about your 45 net. But I don't quote me on the 75. That was a guess.
So you didn't provide any parking evidence
But we're not
to
disputing.
support your value?
No, we're not disputing the parking. You don't need evidence.
You assess subject property like parking. You didn't provide any evidence in support your
If you're
conclusion.
not contesting a value, you don't need to provide evidence to say that we agree.
Yeah. Ms. Shable, he's saying that he's agreeing to a value in his opinion of 421,000, which agrees with your parking lot portion of it. He doesn't believe that there's any value to the building. That's all he's saying. And if you, that's what he's trying to say to you at this point is
Okay.
that.
But you will agree, currently it's occupied building, it's not vacant, it's not demolished. So it has value on this property, correct?
I'm sorry. Let me just look at this one more time. I don't want to waste too much time here. I don't know if it's occupied right now because it's been like I've looked at it maybe 2 or 3 times, and the first 2 times it was empty, and then the third time there was a sign saying art gallery coming. So that's
Okay.
can't
you.
speculate one way or another.
No further questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Ramel, any questions?
Just verification that you're saying it's worth 421,000.
That is correct.
That's your, okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, and I have no further questions. Any summation by either party at this point, or none required?
No, thank you.
Just a request, if whatever the board decides that it's clear on the allocation, if there is any provided to the building, what that might be, please. I'm saying please, because I know you don't have to do it.
Thank you very much, and with that, I believe we concluded that property, so we will move on. to 1700 Ness Avenue. Go ahead, Ms. Shable.
Thank you. File number 24-3948, roll number 070004900. Visit assess
Sorry,
2025
Madam Assessor, that's.
440.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. VSS 2025 is market reference day April 1st, 2023 at 1,744,000. The subject property office building, one floor building, original built in 1990, located C1 community zoning and King Edward neighborhood, has suited and land area 9,975 square feet, with plan area and basement area 4,624 square feet. Gross floor leasable area 9,645 square feet. Assessed. And on page number 2, this building was originally sold in 2020 from 5694311 Manitoba Inc. Incorporation for $1,365. It's on market sale. On same page, I posted existing property leases. We have a lease 860 square feet in units E for $8.91. We have lease in 2 units for over 4,000 square feet at $11.95. And we have leases and $14.75 on main floor and basement $7.25. So overall building at $11.68 per square foot. On page number 3, air photo and street view of subject property. It's located northwest of the city, one floor building, close to Pala Park. On page number 4, more air photos view. It's rectangle shape of the land, commercial zoning on page number 5. On page number 6, income approach, we assess office building 9,645 square feet, overall $12.43 per square foot. Give us leasable area, potential rent 119,868. On same page, I presented several comparables. On close to the subject property, similar to the subject property, you can see first my free comparables on 871, 1833 Portridge has same neighborhood like subject property. They lease $13.70 for 3,700 square feet. And on 1833 Portridge Avenue, over 4,000 square feet, rent for $17 per square foot. Closest neighborhood to 4 Bruce Park. I have another leases, 1856 Portridge, around 1,000 square feet and $19.91. 1818 Portridge. Rent.
Well, you don't have to read each one of them off. It's
Okay.
not necessary. You can give us
Okay.
the range and give us the mean and median. That's more than adequate.
So average $17.17 and media $16.53. We assess it $12.43 in not much low, but it's very well supported. Vacancy for this building 6%, expenses not recoverable 3%, shortfall or $8 per square foot for vacant space, give us net operating income 104,666. Overall capitalization rate 6%, give us 1,744,000. It's following by my air photos view and street view of my comparable started on page number 10. You can see for first 1871 porch one-story building. 11 page, one-story building, lane 33. On page 12, it's two-story building, rent for $19.91. On page 13, it's a 1818 Portridge one-story building for $16.39. On page 14, we have a one and two-floor building, 200 Portridge at $15 per square foot for 26,000 square feet of building. My comparables on page number 15, it's two-floor building, 2181 Portridge for $13.64. On page 16, one-floor building, rent for around $23.40. Two-floor building on page 17, 231 Portridge, rent at $16.57. On page 18, we have income expense mailer provided for us. Following by page 21, property assessment, following by appeal. Based off my evidence analysis, April 1st, 2023, market value of subject property is $1,744,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Questions, Mr. Neufeld?
Yes. You said the sales, something about the sales that they were valid. Did you research who the vendor and purchaser was on all of these transactions?
Vendor and purchase, two different Manitoba Incorporation numbered company. You can see on page number 2569431 Manitoba Incorporated sold to owner today 10049,849. It's on Moped Market. It's eligible sale in 2020.
So I'm sorry. This is the extent of your research. Was you listed
We
that?
search when we verify sales. We're looking in business. It's no related party, so it's open market.
Do you recall in a previous appeal that it was pointed out that the sales were between a father to his daughter in one case, and then from a accounting company to one of their clients in the other case? Do you recall that?
In previous sale, it was two unrelated party. Before verify sale, we're looking for business number. It's not related party, no different names, completely different names.
Page 6, is this done by the model?
Correct.
The rent on page 6 at 2000 Portage. Where did you get the data from? Income and expense forms?
Correct. It's all net rent. I verified myself.
And oh, you did. Okay. And who is the tenant?
For privacy of tenants, I didn't provide here.
Well, it in your picture. Can you read the sign on it from your picture?
We can open and read. You can do it. I don't hide this.
It's the Manitoba Métis Child and Family Services on the sign, correct?
Possible.
Now, in terms of the ownership, that's not hidden by Privacy Act. Anyone can look it up. Who owns this property?
We look not who own. We look for rent, existing netly rent.
Who owns the property? You're not aware Manitoba Métis Federation owns the building?
I don't have this information in front of me.
Okay. Well, you verified the sale, but you provided a sale of an owner occupant.
It's I provide a rent for similar space like subject property.
Are you suggesting that this owner occupant rent is a market rent?
On page number 6, it's tenant rent, net rent provided by owner to us.
Okay, so are you standing by this, that this is a market?
Correct. I did my verification myself.
Okay. On page, you called this, did you state that this building has net rents? Was that your statement?
When I look on page number 2, I just transfer what happened, provide to us on page 20.
Okay, I believe I thought I heard you say that the rents were net. Is that correct?
It's net rent.
Okay, so on the rent roll, page 20, just the first tenant is listed, and they have a sorry, I just want to lost my point here, position here. That they are listed as having a property tax at $3.22 a square foot. You see that? Tax recovery.
On page 18.
Yeah.
So we have a basic rent, we have cost recovery, operating recovery, tax property recovery, and management fee recovered.
Now, unit E, what is the property tax recovery?
And units E on page 20, it's clear showed its gross lease
Okay.
for $8.91.
So there are some net leases and there are some gross leases in this building then. Is that fair?
816 square feet, yes, it's gross lease, but for 4,068 square feet net lease, 1,935 square feet net lease, 1,010 square feet
Right.
net lease.
Now on page 18, the total recoveries are 63,525,000, correct?
Correct.
And on the next page, yes, the next page, the total operating expenses are 75,546,000. So there is a $12,000 shortfall between recoveries and costs.
On page number 18, we have net revenue 155,000. If you divide by, we can look for how big gross rent for this building.
I'm asking about
155,000, 15 divided by area, 900, 645, gross lease $16 per square foot.
That's not the question. There is a shortfall between recoveries and expenses, is there not?
Between recoveries, we have expenses, all expenses 75,000.
It's about $12,000. And isn't that the same differential between the base rent and the net operating income? A $12,000 difference, correct?
Whole rent 91,000. They recovered recovery revenue 63,000, and they have total expenses 75,000.
Yes, okay. That's all I was.
It's 10,000 difference, but we have net revenue 91,000, 92,000.
Now,
so we still have a net operating income plus.
Well, their claim of net operating income is 79,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Amell, questions?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you very much, and I have no further questions. Mr. Neufeld, can we have your presentation quickly, please?
You will, and I gotta fire this person who's making this stuff up here. Okay, sorry, I made some changes for you. We're using the actual income as full, which the statement supports, $79,000. That's clearly what it indicates. There is a shortfall between the amount recovered and the amount spent, and as we manage this property, so some of the units don't pay property taxes and they don't all pay the same recoveries. It's what you would expect in a building in the suburbs with multiple tenants, multiple users. That's not a real quality investment property. So the $79,000, I've changed the vacancy rate because I can't understand where it came from to 8.4%, which is from the Johnson Miscellaneous Suburban for 2023. That has changed the 70,255 to 72,470. And don't this is not capitulation in any way, but I've taken out the non-recoverables and changed it to 3%. And the reasoning is that as a building that is net and gross, they have already dealt with the theory of the non-recoverables. So there is a very, very minimal amount of non-recoverables on the method of valuation. There's lots of non-recoverables, but on the method of valuation, we've switched to a gross valuation model, in which case you don't get to claim high non-recoverables. It's already built in. So and also the shortfall, there's no reason to dispute a couple of cents. So I changed that to 8%. So my new NOI is 65006.
65006 is the NOI.
Based on actual. And in terms of the capitalization rate, the issues with this property are again, there are a bunch of small ones, but it was never purpose built for this particular use, and I can't recall what it was built for. But it has basement space, which is not desirable. This is one of the few occasions I will not dispute a basement has a rental capability, because in my inspection, of course, it had barrier-free access to the lower level. It had separately demised rental units, and it was properly built out. It had a roof, a ceiling height that was fair, and of course, all utilities and services and tenants who were renting. So we're not disputing the basement in that case. It just doesn't mean that it's good, because when people are looking for space, the basement is still always the last to go, because nobody likes being in the basement. And as a kid, I always had to live in the basement. Always hated that. But I'm not bringing my personal beliefs into this. It's just not desirable in the marketplace, and not something people care for. There's also a shortage of parking here. The area that it's parking is based on for planning is the gross building area, and for an office use, so that would be an area of 9975. For an office use, it's generally 1,000 square feet need a single stall, but for some of the uses in the building, it's at 250 per 250 square feet per parking stall. So at 17 parking stalls, which I did go count myself, 15 parking stalls. I did count 15. It's not conducive to anything but an office use. So on Ness Avenue, you could have a variety of different uses that could generate more rent if perhaps you wanted a retail or anything resembling retail, or interacting with the public more frequently, even community services. That wouldn't be permitted because you don't have the parking. As office, it's fine. So the issue here is the lack of alternative use and secondary, more people being exposed to the property to increase the bid rent. If you've got a retail user looking for space, an office user looking for space, that's twice the number of customers for your space. That's really what we're trying to say. And these issues are minor. When in the long run, they're just they're just negative. And again, 8% is just indicative of the times. there's a number of cap rate sales that are for downtown office, nothing to speak of sold in the suburbs on an investment basis. And the cap rate models that the different real estate companies use are, for example, our suburban B, it ranges from 6.5 to 7.5, and this being a miscellaneous is going to cap higher than that. And the differential is what I just described: is basement space, tighten the parking, and those are the factors. That's my presentation. Oh, sorry, one more thing. I slipped it into questioning the sales. This was a father and daughter operation. Father owned the site, sold to his daughter. Daughter split it off to another person, and then they sold to one of their clients of their accounting firm. This was all presented at municipal board in the past, so it's been on record, and I no privacy issues to speak to there. So we're not putting a lot of weight on the sale prices.
Fair enough.
Did
Mr.
I?
Neufeld, you do have to answer two questions for me.
Yes, and I realized the number one is
813,000 then, sir?
yeah, I lost my place here, but that sounds about right.
If you're using an NOI of $65,006 at 8% cap, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. Sorry, I just found my screen.
And the vacancy that you used in the end was
8.4% Johnson miscellaneous.
okay. That is your submission then, sir?
That is it. Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shable, questions, please?
Yes, please. Would you agree that 15 parking lot, it's plenty for free tenants existing in the building?
I believe there's more than 3 tenants. There's, I believe, 5 tenants, and what I was referring to, I was speeding over it, but since you asked, going to page page 24. I was incorrect. I'm sorry. Office is 1 stall for every 750 square feet. So 90 9975 divided by 750, you have to round up, is 14 stalls. For office, it's adequate for planning. But my point was that when you looked at any alternate uses, such as retail, which is the 2 spaces below, it's 1 stall for each 250.
And I appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Neufeld. It is not retail, it is office, correct?
Yes, it's just the lack of being able to market it as retail.
I
Alternate
appreciate
tenants. Okay,
Thank you.
that was
Mr.
my
Cable,
answer.
any further questions?
It's your rent income 79,000. We look through income expenses mailer. Would you agree that 79,000 showed net operating income statement, not rent?
The net operating income, as full, was 79,000. And that's the number to be used for potential income on this style of building. It's full 79,000.
Would you agree that net operating net rent 92,000 reported to us?
No. They actually call it, if you read it, base rent, not net rent.
Okay, would you agree that difference between gross rent and net rent usually around 40%?
No, I don't know where that comes from.
Expenses, recoverable expenses, usually 40% on top. It's you professional, you did analyze net operating.
Oh, I don't think that's ever a method I've ever heard of.
He never said that in any part of his brief.
Okay.
So I don't understand the concept of that question. So please
That's what I
Uh,
wanted to say. I didn't.
Please.
Yeah.
Usually difference between gross rent and net rent around 40%. We have statements that 155,000 it's gross revenue. If you multiply by 60%, it gives us just net rent 93,000.
No,
Thank you.
there is no formula that exists
But
on
it's
that.
roughly.
There is no formula, and it also is, you have to consider about which tenants are paying full recoveries and which are being absorbed into the gross building revenue.
Just roughly 75,000 expenses, 75,566 divide by gross rent 55, no 15, give us 14.8%.
Again, this is not a
Roughly.
method that anybody has ever used.
Hey, I've never heard of
Okay.
it.
Just roughly, just when we analyze, you usually came across. So for you, you using only 7,873 square feet of space. It's you.
Let me just see.
46.
78, 73. Yes, it's not a major factor in the valuation because we're using actual income, but I had not reviewed their statement of space, and I'm just looking at it now. Yes, page. Sorry, it's you have it on page 20 of your brief. 7873 of occupied area, 0 vacant, total 7873.
And you use actual net, but it's much higher, 92,000, not 79, correct?
No, that's not what I said 5 times.
You've asked and answered that question already, Ms. Shable, please. Let's move on.
Okay, no further questions. You have rent comparables on page number 5. You're going to straight to subject rent, correct? We don't have to verify it.
As I said, the subject is always the best evidence of rent for any property, and if you don't like it, you have to prove it's wrong.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amel, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
And Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm assuming there is no further summation required on either party?
30
I would like-
seconds.
I need summation.
Go ahead quickly, please.
Our job here today is to analyze the market evidence and determine the best conclusion of market value. Agent states that he used actual statement for valuation of property. However, his net operating income 57,000 and clearly provided by owner 79,000. His net operating income, we have to apply capitalization rate. So by using very low net operating income, he undervalued the subject property. Our assessment based on gross floor area of 9,000 over 9,000 square feet and our rent $12.43. It's very well supported by my comparables. It show average at least $17 per square foot. So based off my evidence analysis, April 1st, 2023 market value of subject property, 1,744,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next property.
Sorry,
please.
I 30 seconds.
Make
I'll
it
be-
quick, Mr. Neufeld.
Absolutely. Areas of contention, rentable area. They put in a statement, told the assessor how many square feet they had. They didn't use it. They used something else. You can't manufacture income. Second point was the actual income as full is $79,000, and that's your starting point for your potential. Deductions from it, minor differentials. I think the only one we're disagreeing on is the vacancy rate. That's not why we came here today. And lastly is the cap rate. 6 is too low. by far during these times. We put 8 in, and I would not disagree if someone said it could be 7.5 or something like that. I'm not throwing out recommendations, but looking at this, I think we've addressed it in that range, 7.5 to 8. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We need to really move on, both parties, because we have got very little time left. So please, we need to streamline this even further. Go ahead, Ms. Shable, on the location at 1919 Portage Avenue, please.
Thank you.
Next bag.
File number
Big win on one of some cars, not enough in some cars, all good stuff.
Go ahead, Ms. Shable, I'm waiting for you.
file number 24-4165, roll number 07040537-000. We did assess 2025 with market reference day April 1st, 2023 at 709,000. The subject property, two-story office building, original built in 1951 with effective years built 1990. Located in zoning C2 community, commercial community, and 203 King Edward neighborhood, like previous subject property. It's located suite on land area 4,062 square feet, has plan area 1,430 square feet, has basement 1,023 square feet, gross floor leasable area 3,483 square feet. The subject property was sale in 2024. It's on market sale for 975,000 in 2021 between two unrelated parties. 4007-841 Manitoba Limited, vendor in current owner 7579005 Manitoba Limited. We assess in 2023 it's 709,000. It's fair. It's low, it's sale. On page number 3, it's started air photo and street view. The subject property located northwest of the city. We have street view. It's two-floor building. More photos following on page 4 and
Further,
5.
Ms. Shable, we can see the pictures and we know where it is, so keep moving along much quicker, please.
It
Sorry.
has zoning C2 commercial community. On page number 8, I presented same set of comparables on Portage, like subject property, all building, 1 to floor building. They sold average $17.70 and media $16.53. We did assess 3,483 square feet at $12.24. Give us potential rent $42,645. We did apply 6% vacancy loss, 3% not recoverable expenses, is shortfall $8 per square foot. Give us net operating income $37,211. Overall capitalization rate 5.25%, give us estimate value 709,000. Same comparables we already look into. Income expenses mailer presented on page 2021. It's owner occupied space. We see only expenses. On page 22, property assessment following by appeal. Based on evidence analysis, the April 1st, 2023 market value of subject property 709,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Mr. Neufeld, questions? And let's keep them brief, please.
Page 8, was this done by the model?
Correct.
And you're assessing basement space here. Have you inspected it?
It's has basement, it has value. If a basement not exists, same area will be used from main floor or extend main floor area. So it's under assessment.
Is it leasable?
It's leasable.
And how would you get an occupancy permit for it?
It's a whole building. We assess whole building, not partial building.
Well, in the income approach, you have to be leasable space. Does it meet any, if you haven't seen it, have you?
It's I didn't see it, but it's part of our records.
Okay. And did you provide any basement rents in your comparisons?
I provide overall rent,
What you have, is it just on page 8,
correct?
first floor?
But all building, 1-2 floor building, some has basement, has doesn't has basement, but it still support our $12.24 with media of $17 per square foot.
Which ones have basements?
I assess main floor only, main and second floor.
Well, okay, you said that some of these had basements. Which ones have basements?
We assess basement for appeal for this reassessment because it's part of building and it has value.
If your comparables at the bottom of page 8 have a basement, is that space included in the first floor rent, or is there a separate lease for it?
Separate, because my comparable showed $17 per square foot. Our altogether overall $12 per
That's
square
not
foot.
what I asked. Is there a separate lease for it, or is it included in the main? Do you know?
It's part of building and have to be assessed.
I think
You-
that's the best you're gonna get at this point, Mr. Neufeld, so move on, please.
Okay, just one sec. And the upper floor, the second floor, do you know what is on the second floor?
It's owner occupied space.
Do you know how it's finished?
It's typical office space.
It's typical, and this is based on what knowledge that you have of it? Did you look at it?
Our record up to date.
There was a listing on it. Did you look at the pictures in the listing?
I don't have listing in front of me.
Okay,
We can look in your own evidence.
those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Amell, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
And I don't have any questions. Mr. Neufeld, your presentation, and put some fire under, please.
Okay, basement is unfinished. It's got the furnace down there. That's it. That's not leasable space. That doesn't belong. Second floor was designed and sold as with a bedroom up there because they had a suite up there and their business ran below. The new purchaser hasn't changed that. He just put in a bigger dining room table to use for meeting rooms. So nap time in the afternoon, that sounds like a good idea to me. There's a patio out back for that, but it is not finished in an office manner. The rents we applied were 14 on first and 10 on the second. We had a number of ones that we had looked at in the ones we've cited below. There's always a variance between first and second of around 20 to 30%, depending on the quality of it. There's no elevator, so it's going to have a greater variance, and it's small space. The vacancy applied, I figured this one out, is the total suburban office vacancy in Johnson report. And I imagine that's because we couldn't really figure out what it was, nail it down to a specific use. Good parking in the back, no problem there. And the cap rate applied was 8.5, and I gotta say that's a little bit on the high side. I think even though it's not an investment property, it's small. It is 1951 construction with changes, and you don't make a building have change the life of it by doing some work on your interior decoration, the framing, the foundation. It's all original. So again, it's the old concept. Old man gets a heart transplant, he's still an old man. I think that the 8.5, I mean, probably looking at it, I would concede it could be a bit lower than that. There's certainly nothing as ridiculous as 5.25. Going off, just finishing this off, is the capitalization rates. All the ones we use, we don't rank these at all because they are higher than an investment property. Investment properties return stable income. This would not return stable income. It's going to be one user goes away, replaced with another one, perpetual vacancy. Yeah, that's what you expect for this type of product. The interest rates, of course, they're capped at a point where you couldn't even get a mortgage on it because your mortgage is going to be 5.5%. That's self. So this cap rate does not exist. There is no data to support in the marketplace. I would suggest a range of 7.5 to 8.5 would be where this would fall in. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much. Questions for Shable?
Yes, please. Would you agree that subject property owner occupied or single tenants occupied building?
It's owner occupied.
So how you justify 11% vacancy for owner occupied building?
That's a market
Single
rate.
tenants.
It's a market rate. You're
On
going to
previous
apply.
case of 1700 Ness Avenue, you use Johnson report 8.4. Why you didn't change your mind here?
Because in that particular property, we were treating it as office, which is miscellaneous office, Johnson 8.4. For this particular property, it really doesn't fit any of the definitions. So it's we looked at the totality of the suburban area, which is 11.4. When it goes dark, or sorry, when it goes empty, it's going to be. The other reason is a single tenant. You go empty, and you're empty 6 months. That's 6 months of rent you lose. 1,700 Ness, for example, you lose one unit for half a year. That's 10% of your income you lose. So that's the difference.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amell, any questions?
Just clarification. Have you inspected it and you say the basement is vacant, just the furnace? That's it?
You know what? I didn't get into the basement when I went there. I looked at the bedroom upstairs. I contacted the owner this morning and had him send me give me the description of it and some pictures, which I can't submit on this late date. But I'm content that it's his statement. I can read it to you, or it won't be any different from what I've said. His quote was, where is Mike? The basement is an unrenovated concrete basement with a furnace, hot water tank, and pit. There are no windows and one staircase out. So my understanding is that we can't occupy the space. That's his statement.
Okay, unrenovated.
Well, meaning unfinished. That was his terminology. I'm going with the concrete basement.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't believe I have any further questions. I assume there's no summation on this?
Yes, summation, please. Very short.
Very quickly, please.
Our job here today is analyze the market evidence. It determines the best conclusion of the market value. The recent sale of the subject property ended 2021 for $975,000. Clear market evidence of value of subject property. So I ask board to confirm our assessed value for April 1st, 2023 at $709,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll move on to
15 seconds.
I'm going to time you.
Burden of proof. Well, don't laugh in between. Burden of proof. If you say it's rentable, prove it, assessor. That's not on us to prove it. We said it's not rentable. She says it's rentable. Prove it is. Burden of proof. Cap rate, crazy. The bottom fell out of the office market everywhere. And fives never existed, ever. And there's absolutely not a speck of market evidence to support that, especially when interest rates exceed the cap rate indicated. Because I blew it. I was a couple seconds over. Right.
I appreciate that, Mr. Neufeld. Let's move on to the next property, please. And we do need to still keep moving at a pretty quick pace here. So 2033 Portage Avenue. Ms. Shable, go ahead.
File number 24-4185, roll number 0705 1631000. We did assess 2025 with reference market date April 1st, 2023 at 1,224,000. It's include 303,000. It's a school exemption, 921,000 taxable. The subject property office, two-floor office building, actual build 1971, has located and commercial C2 community zoning and 205 deep lodge. Land area of 8,054 square feet, plan area 3,877 square feet, no basement, gross floor area 7,654 with access leasable area 6,852 square feet. This on page number 2. Estimated overall lease in the property, it's $15.33. On page number 3, air photo and street view follow-up. Presented, subject property located northwest of the city. You can see two-floor building, facing Portage. It's a rectangle shape of land in middle of block. Zoning C2 commercial. I present the same set of evidence. They showed minimum average or everything on Portage from 8071 for to 2182 all block on Portage for $17.70 average or median $16.53. Let's look how we assess property on page number 8. It's a taxable taxable portion of the building, 5,252 square feet, assessed at $12.70, give us average potential rent 63,894. We apply 6% vacancy, 3% not recoverable, $8 per square foot for vacant space, give us net operating income 55,757. Capitalization rate 6.05, give us estimation taxable portion 921,000. On page number 9, we assess 1,600 square feet and $13.10, give us potential rent 20,960. We apply same 6% vacancy, 50% not recoverable, $8 per square foot for vacant space, give us net operating income 18,343. Generate model 6.05%, give us estimate value 303,000. So on page number 10, a summary. Estimate market value 1,224,000. I have on page 13 through 20 present all my photocopy air photo from my comparables. On page 21, income expense Miller provided for us. You can see we have 7 tenants inside and generate net operating income 105,000 roughly. On page number 23, property assessment notice following by appeal. Based off my evidence, the April 1st, 2023 market value of subject property, 1,224,000. Thank you. Any
Thank you very-
questions?
Thank you very much. Mr. Newfield, questions?
Yes. This was done by the model then, the valuation,
Correct?
and oh, okay, sorry, I was just double checking something on the exemption side. You stated here that the page 2 leases found at 1533 a square foot. That is gross, correct?
Yeah, overall lease is presented for us, yeah.
1533 gross, right? I just want to make sure we quote the right number here. Is that right?
Yeah, because I don't see recoveries.
Okay, all right. And no new questions there, no new questions there. That's my presentation. Sorry, those are my questions. Nothing new you haven't heard already.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Ahmel, any questions, sir?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you very much, and I don't believe I have any further questions, so Mr. Newfeld, can we have your presentation, please?
Yes, the income we used was the actual. One of these units is occupied by the owner, but it's not like a full occupancy. The owner is a partner in one of the tenancies. So it was, and his unit is, sorry, I'm going to find the brief here on the assessor's page 22. His unit is 205 EC Barthel. So he's a partner in that firm. He's not the sole person decision maker. And considering that the rent that they charge themselves, it falls in line with the rest of the building. Obvious split between second floor and first floor rents. Second floor is kind of weird because it's actually a shared office style with a shared reception area, and all gross. And so some of the rents look like they're really, really large. But considering that they have a share of the common area, it's appropriate. This is why the gross up on it is so large. It's you can see the gross up from 6852 from 7754, but that's accounted for with the tenancies. We've again looking based solely on the actuals, which is a whole bunch of tenants in there. We have worked it out to about approximately 65,000 in potential income, and the rest of the parameters. I was reviewing. That's not the right vacancy rate. It should be 8.4. And the person who did it just showed up in my office and begged for forgiveness and gave me this beverage, so he's forgiven. I'm modifying the NOI in total. I've done a very rough calculation. I'm going to be a couple dollars off, speeding things up. Our NOI, I would like to restate it, 50666 rather than 46066, and that's an adjustment of $4,600 in both vacancy and shortfall. And the cap rate that we had put in here, 50666, is would come out to 614,000 in value. There's again, as with the previous property I discussed, I think that my review of it is that we should be looking at a bit of a consideration of the range, possibly between 7.5 and 8.25. But our NOI is 5066, and I'll let the board make that decision. The ratio on school exempt versus taxable would be similar to what has been done on this. And it's got to be done on an income basis because most of the exempt are in the inferior spaces. Oh, no, wait, school social workers is a good space. Regardless, the ratio here of school exempt is 25%, so 2575. So I had totally forgot what I gave you here.
Well, I believe you've given me an NOI of 50,000.
Right.
At 8.25%, correct?
Yeah, but let's just.
Overall, 614,000.
I disagree with this, but I would suggest 7.5 in this case. So 50666 at 7.5 is 675,000, and of that, 25% is school exempt, which is 169,000.
Okay, 169,000 for school
So
tax.
675 minus 169, taxable is 506. And I have a very brief summation on this.
Okay. So you're at a total of 675,000, correct?
Yes,
And 169,000 is the school tax portion,
yes, that is correct.
and 506,000 for the taxable, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. That's your submission, sir.
Who is
I
calling?
don't know what's going on over there, but
I have to,
going up.
let me mute that.
Please. Ms. Shable, do you have any questions of Mr. Neufeld at this time?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Amel, any questions at this time, sir?
No questions, thanks.
Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions, thank you.
And I have no questions either. Thank you very much.
Can we have
Unless-
break,
is there a
5 minutes
summation?
break? No
Sorry?
summation. No
No
summation.
summation? No summation, Mr. Neufeld? You're muted, sir.
Sorry, very brief, but I thought humorous. Several years ago, I had a debate with an assessor on properties like this as to the valuation. Should it be done by income or should it be done on a rate per square foot on direct comparison? Now, we never resolved that debate. But this is probably a consideration. These properties that we've heard today might be better, or at least balanced off with the direct comparison approach. If you will note my comparables submitted to you on the ones that changed in use, there's a pretty strong number at $75 a foot, and for this type of property, and that's on the gross area. So 8054 at 75 is around $600,000. I think we're in the ballpark on that basis if we actually went to a rate per square foot. I hope our chair found that funny. Thank you.
We'll talk another time about that, Mr. Neufeld. Thank you very much for your submission. And Ms. Shable, you need a break for a couple minutes?
Yes, please. Thank you.
5 minutes and very quickly, please. Thank you very much. And welcome back. Just a little bit of quick housekeeping. The assessor was unaware of the withdrawal for Woodland.
Yes, that has occurred.
Okay, so would you please forward that withdrawal on to her, please?
Of course.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shable, go ahead with respect to 287 Tashi Avenue. We could have your submission at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. File number 24-4247, roll number 0609087400. We did assess 2025 is market reference day, April 1st, 2023 at 872,000. The subject property, two-floor office building, original built in 1935 with effective years 1950. It's located Norwood East, a commercial zoning. On page number 2, this property was sold in 2020 in May 4 for $1 million from Co-Imagine Limited to new company Tashi Realty Holding Inc. It has reported lease, existing lease, it's $13.91, clean net lease. On page number 3, Air 14th Street view of subject property, it's located southeast side of the city. On page number 4 through 5, it's rectangle shape of land, two-floor building, located in C1 commercial zoning. So our assessment on page number 7, we did assess 3,486 square feet. Sorry, I skip a land area, plan area. Should I repeat myself? I skipped this, sorry.
Yeah, you can skip through it. We can.
Okay, we can read.
Very
So
easily.
we assess 3,486 square feet from gross area 4,770. So at $16.43 give us potential rent $57,271. On same page on the bottom, I presented 5 comparables. Northwood East in Northwood West neighborhood, closest to the subject property. All my building, 1 to 2-story buildings, built between 1957 to 2013. Let's look how much this property rent, market rent. So 187 St. Mary Drive, 3,551 square feet, rent for $19.71. 188 Marion Street, building built in 1986, rent for 11,000 square feet for $16.
Ms. Shable, if I could just get you to give us the range of the rents and the mean and median, we can see the numbers and then read the information.
Because it's new evidence presented, I would
And
like
I
to go
appreciate
through
that.
them.
I appreciate it, but we can.
It's
read
part of my
it.
evidence up to me to defend property, and I
I get
defending
it.
right now
I'm
rent.
asking you to move forward a little bit quicker, please. I need you to streamline it. I said this right off the hop today for both sides. I'm going to try and rush you along because we have a real time constraint here. So my apologies, but streamline it. You can give us the range of rents. You can give us the mean and the median, and that would be sufficient. We can read. Thank you.
Okay, my average in media $19.76. It's market evidence, and we assess $16.43. It's much lower, but it's very well supported. It's fair. We apply same 6% vacancy, 3% not recoverable, and $8 per square foot net for vacant space. Give us net operating income 50,547. Model generate 5.8% capitalization rate. Give us estimate value 872,000. Look what I have in my brief. All my comparables started Air 14th Street View in page 11, 187 St. Mary Road at $19.71. On page number 12, one-floor building. On 188 Marion Street at $16 per square foot. On page number 13, 177 St. Mary Road at $22.09. On page 14, 260 St. Anne Drive at $20 per square foot. On page 15, 1089 St. Mary Road at $21 per square foot. On page 16 and 17, income expense mailer provided to us, they clearly designate net lease. You can see the rent income 56,964, and they have all recoveries, administrative recoveries, maintenance recoveries, tax recoveries, clean net lease. It showed, my estimation showed on page number 2 at $13.91. And on page 18, I look existing current permits in 2020, alteration to include demolition and construction interior partition wall and door, as well as renovate, replace of existing door and north side of the building for new tenants. Ruban Insurance Broker. Property assessment on page 19, following by appeal. Based off my evidence analysis, April 1st, 2023 market value of subject property, 872,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions, Mr. Neufeld?
Yes, valuation on whatever page was done by the model.
Correct?
Okay, you made a statement saying that this is a clean net lease
Yes.
and the tenant is Ruben Insurance.
Yeah, it's showed on income
And
speller.
the owner, page 20, is John Ruben. You see that?
John Ruben, Dashe Realty Holding. So it's yeah, you're right.
So it's not a clean lease, it's an owner occupied.
It's owner occupied, but it's different tenants, different name. Owner and tenants has different.
And did you research
And
the,
they showed net lease.
Okay.
It's an agreement between them.
did you research the sale of 2020 on the particulars of it?
On page number 2, yes, we have sale in 2020 for 1 million.
And who's the vendor?
Vendor was Co-Imagine Limited, was sold to Tashe Realty Holding. It's two independent party. So, okay,
Okay, so that's all you know about the sale then?
it's clean market. It's not related party.
Is this, you presented all you know about the sale? Do you know anything more about the sale?
I know that it's two not related party.
I'm not asking for your opinion. Do you know any more?
It's
than
not,
what
it's
you-
my statement, because
You-
when we verify lease, we checking for company. Name of people who own company.
Well,
So
fine.
it's
Who-
on market rent, market sale in 2020 for 1 million. In VSS around 900.
Who are the
Less
people
als
in-
real
in,
sale.
And who are the people in Co-Imagine? Do you know? Then?
It doesn't make, it's not presented in my brief, but
Okay.
I am under oath and I state it's clean market sale for 1 million prior to reference day to 2 years.
And what was this building before its current use?
It's both post office.
Okay. And how did it change a year of built of 1935 to 1950? What were the changes?
Because I can explain that office building without change can be 16 years on the, you have to renovate mechanical everything or you have to demolish. So to make model work, this office building should not less as, not more than 16 years per square, 16 years effective life.
And you put in a permit on page 18. Do you know the nature of the work that was done any more than what you've provided here?
It is was 125,000 renovation, alteration to include demolition and construction of interior partition wall indoors,
I just
as well of removal and replacement of existing door on north side of the building. It's clear explanation what was done.
Do you know, I just asked if you knew any more than what was on the form.
It's what relevant and I posted in my brief.
Okay. And let me just check. I don't think there's anything new ground we haven't gone over. Those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you for your
Thank
presentation.
you. And Mr. Amell, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you very much. And I have no further questions. Mr. Neufeld, can we have your presentation, please?
Yes. Firstly, address the sale. The reason it sold, the vendor passed away, and he actually passed away in the building. Mr. Rubin was a friend of the family, so the sale was not arm's length. He gave me an explanation, but to respect the privacy of their matters, I think I'm under oath. I was very satisfied that it was not an arm's length transaction between the estate of the former owner and the current owner. It was actually, they had business relations as well as personal relations. Well, I don't like the way that sounds. But now we don't disagree on the potential rent. And, for that matter, I don't think we're here to debate a few $1,000s difference on the NOI. So I'm not even going to address it. The board can make up their mind which they'd prefer, but this is a cap rate matter. And in regard to the capitalization rate, this is a building built in 1935. I was asking questions about the change in this age, because when the last owner prior to the current one bought the building, which he paid, as stated, I forget, $500,000 for, he installed a new HVAC system. The HVAC system failed on a cold December day and backed up carbon monoxide and killed him on a Sunday. And the permit taken out in the assessor's brief was to repair the deficiency from that, the functioning of the HVAC system. And you may know who he was. It was Dave Palubeski, who's a planner. Mm-hmm. And in any event, that's the story behind the building. As far as the cap rate's concerned, we looked at a couple of things on it. Obviously, this is not an investment building. This is a former bank. I could not find a heritage registration on it, but being what it is, the way the heritage system works is that when there comes a permit for any sort of change, alteration, demolition, this would go through Historic Society, and there would be impediments to development. Nothing registered at the time, but there are numerous post offices already on the registry. I don't know why you want to save a post office, but that is the system that Winnipeg must live with. The deficiency on the carbon monoxide is there's always going to be a doubt in this building. This is actually on par with a contamination of a property, because the way our standards have gone, detrimental conditions now would include an issue like this. There was a catastrophic failure in building systems that will always stay with this property. It's a downer on the cap side. It's called a detrimental condition. Other than that, it's a converted post office, so it's not great space unless you're sorting mail in the 30s, and it's going to cost you more to maintain it. I think that we nailed it on the 9%. If you looked at a good building at being 6.5 to 7, and you throw in the historical issue and the detrimental conditions at 9% would be a very good indication of which to sell in the market. So it doesn't matter whose NI you use; it's a cap rate issue. With its baggage, it's 9%. And of course, what they did not discuss in the workup here was the parking, and you can see in the picture that there is very limited parking. There's five spaces available, and with the gross building area of 4770 at 750 square feet, is requiring 7 stalls. So it's too short of bylaw, and also restricts it for alternate use to office, limiting its marketability. That's I don't think anybody feels comfortable discussing matters like this, and hopefully I've handled it with some tact, but this is the reality of what impacts real estate. This isn't a plea for pity, that's for sure. This was a failed building system issue. That is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shable, any questions?
Yes, please. You assess main area at $17.12 per square foot, correct? On your page number 1.
Yeah,
So
this-
it's market rent.
no, this particular net income, I'm quite honest with you, is we looked at, the person who did this did look at the internal rent situation, and also looked at what the assessor put on it. And we don't disagree with your income. And we have a difference of measurements. Now, these measurements we have, they include some basement space, and that's questionable whether it should be in there or not. But I've been in it, and it's on the cusp of being rentable or non-rentable. It is serviced, it's finished, it has an adequate ceiling height. It's just not very good, and of course, there's no elevator.
On your page 21, you provide rent comparables. Let's go through your rent comparables for your market evidence.
Not disputing your rent. What's the point?
We will go for my rebuttal because you have a clear rent comparables for upper floor, you have for basement. Let's look in your comparables because you state that subject property to related party owner and tenants, it's on booking rent. Let's look market rent together.
Ms. Shable, you understand that your market rent and his market rent work out to virtually the same, literally $300 apart.
But I would like us open page 21 and go for provided evidence of market evidence by the agent.
Go ahead. Let's make it quick though, because we haven't got a lot of time.
You can open my rebuttal for this evidence as well. So to save everyone time.
Sorry, I have no rebuttal information. I have not been served with it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just a moment.
Yeah, and I don't
No,
know.
I'm sorry. I object to it. I checked this yesterday. Mr. Chairman, you're quite familiar with the issues we went through a few days ago, and I had confirmed that rebuttal evidence must be provided the day before to give the parties an opportunity to review what the other side is saying. You can't throw it in the middle of a hearing. I had rebuttal for you. I did not submit it because I knew the rules.
Well, I do not have any information regarding rebuttal at this point, so I'm going to suggest we just move on from here. So if there's a question, Ms. Shable, ask your question. We'll see if we can get an answer, and if not, let's move on because we are going into a time that we just don't have enough time to adjudicate all this in this room today. So please, we have less than an hour, and I do not want to be wasting time on something that we already, you virtually are identical in terms of where your rents are. So please move forward quickly.
For your convenience, it would be helpful to open my rebuttal.
I don't have your rebuttal.
You have just on to connect to this meeting, all rebuttal posted there in Teams.
Upload it now that it's been mentioned, yes. If that is okay with.
Okay, let's have it.
I'll send you.
And yes, I understand this is a little bit late in the game to be bringing it up, but let's have a look. I hope that there's something worthwhile to be looking at here.
So first for comparables,
I'm
95.
sorry, I don't have any information at all.
So are you pointing to his page 21, Ms. Shable? Ms. Shable, are you
Yes.
pointing to his
Page
page 21?
21.
Okay,
All evidence about this verification of net provided in my rebuttal.
Again, I'm going to object. I do not have this information. You cannot enter evidence without the other parties seeing it. And if you're
if
going
you
to enter it, I'm going to ask for an adjournment so I can review it.
if you
Well,
open your connection
Okay,
to
let's be clear here, Mr. Newfeld. A, we're not gonna be able to get an adjournment because of the late date. That's something we just cannot do. If you want to take a,
But that's my
if you
right
wanna-
now. That's my
Pardon
right.
me?
You know that. You know that's my
Well,
right.
Give me a moment, Mr. Newfeld, and I'm going to say to you, I'm going to adjourn quickly, and we will be back with a decision whether we're gonna accept this or not. So please, we are gonna adjourn quickly, and we will try and get this sorted out as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and welcome back. And to answer the question that you had, Mr. Newfeld, this information was sent to the department, or sorry, sent to the board yesterday before 4:30, which is common practice. We have not changed that practice with respect to rebuttal information. Rebuttal then gets brought up, rebutting your information on the fly in the hearing. That is completely normal, and we will be accepting Ms. Shavel's rebuttal. And if it helps to move things along at this point, all the better. And I will remind Ms. Shavel, the rent that you're using and the rent that Mr. Newfeld are using are virtually identical. And so you're going after his rents for what purpose? I'm not understanding. Basically what you have a difference of is just cap rate. And so I appreciate you have the right to ask questions. So let's have it and let's get it done quickly, please and thank you. So can we have the rebuttal sent to us, Zach,
Of
please?
course, I believe it's been uploaded to you. and then
Uploaded
the
already?
panel- Does the panel have it?
I do, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
And Mr. Newfeld, you received it?
Yes, I did.
thank you very much. So I will then go back to Ms. Shavel. Ms. Shavel, where are we
Sorry,
looking?
before you commence, I would just like the board to know there's, you've opened up a very large can of worms. This is not gonna meet your time issues. You should know about that, that's all.
The problem that I have, Mr. Newfeld, is that I've seen this happen over and over again. We're not doing anything unusual.
No, it's something, it's a different matter altogether. But
Fair
I just wanted you to be aware of it. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Newfeld, we're trying to be as fair as we can here and.
Oh, it's nothing to do with the board.
Okay, fair enough. So, Ms. Shavel, please go ahead.
if you open page number 1, it's
Of your-
rebuttal
of
of my
rebuttal, okay?
rebuttal. You have
Okay.
contest table. All information what I'm talking about on this contest table. All number on this contest table supported by income expense mailer provided to us, and page very well designated. You can go by this page or just trust me because I'm under oath. What I presented this table contest for quicker, because point is here right away.
Okay, do you have a question then of Mr. Newfeld?
All right, no, I was listening.
What is your question of Mr. Newfeld, Ms. Shavel?
And this 95 Sherbrooke, 8083 Sherbrooke, it's one single property, correct?
80 to 96 is yes, it's one building.
Okay, you state that 30,000, second line, 30,497 square feet, rent and $6 per square foot, weight average of all tenants, correct?
Sorry, this is a rebuttal. Why are we asking me questions?
Well, she was at the point of asking you questions, sir, and she's
Okay, was that where we're at?
she's looking at your page 21 and she's asking you about Sherbrooke.
Okay, so we were still in questioning of me. I lost track.
Yes.
My apologies. Go ahead. Sorry. The question was.
Michelle?
Whole property rent for $6 per square foot, weight average of all tenants. It's your statement here, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
If you open my rebuttal on page number 3, 80 to 96 Sherbrooke overall weight average $11.93 per square foot.
Yeah, those were gross rents that you're listing.
No, it's net rents. Also, your first article showed rent comparable, including building and parking in TT's rent, correct? Parking including this rent.
Yeah, parking was they didn't have some had parking in it, some didn't.
So my information showed that they collect $11.93 per square foot for 30,497 square feet, and they pay parking separate $13, 30,249. So we move on for 873 Portridge. You state that Liberty 718 square feet rent for $12 per square foot, correct? It's estimate net rent gross from gross.
For 873, yes, that's correct.
And my evidence shows that is rent $18.46 per square foot.
Where is that stated?
On page 5 of my rebuttal.
Page 5, and this is the form filled out by the owner of the property. Is that correct?
Correct.
And under what right do you have to publish this?
I verify your rent.
No. What legal right do you have? How is this?
I have provide evidence to
Just let me
support my
finish.
statement.
This evidence was collected on the basis of the income and expense form for the purpose of doing the reassessment. And when when a property owner files an appeal, it's deemed to be open for review and by the assessor and at a board. Was this ever opened in an appeal in a hearing?
And your case, we're looking for
Was this
873.
ever entered into a hearing as evidence? Was a hearing ever done on this property?
If you open your evidence
Mr.
on
Chairman,
page
I am
20,
objecting to this information.
you
because
cannot object.
it
Look,
was
you
not,
provide tenants.
the assessor
have-
does not have the legal right to air this information in public and violating the nature of the request for information.
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Neufeld, and Ms. Shable, you are well aware of what he's saying, are you not?
You can see they provide
Are
tenants.
you aware of that, Ms. Shable?
Yes, if you
That's a
open
very
page
simple
number
thing.
5, stop. If you open page number 5,
Pardon
all
me?
tenants on page number 5, everyone going to page number 5, all tenants removed name of tenants. It's agent provide tenants name. Who right, who wrong?
Well,
All my
apparently,
statement, all tenants clean. It's I don't show any tenant's name if my rebuttal.
actually,
It's how I work with my comparables, how I verify
Actually-
them.
Actually, Ms. Shable, you are showing the tenants' names. And you've shown them on the top, not on the bottom. You've canceled it out on the bottom, but on the very top of that page.
On top, it's a screenshot from agent brief.
But you matched it.
I just screenshot agent brief and provide my evidence.
Okay. What is the purpose of these questions, Ms. Shable? Because at the end of the day, are you just questioning the fact that you feel that he's not provided net incomes? Is that what you're saying in your questioning? 'Cause
My
you can make the
question,
point very, very simply by saying you may not agree that his numbers are in fact net. Is that what the issue
no.
is?
What I'm talking here, if you look on page 21, agent make his valuation on market between $2.74 to $12.40. But my evidence showed that this number very low, original number much higher. That's why I did this verification. I check each property. So
Okay.
his assumption on very low rent, how it is appraising could be right if his market evidence wrong,
And
undervalued any property of today
if
hearing.
that's his information, and I appreciate you're checking against it, you're trying to verify that. I understand that.
What am my rebuttal about?
Well, and I see that your rebuttal is all about each individual property, but yet I roll back a little bit further and I look again at your two positions, and you're virtually $300 apart in what you believe the income is, irrespective of what the area that you're suggesting. But ultimately, you're $300 difference in income to start with. Why in the world do we need to go through re-verifying each one of these rents when at the end of the day, you're that close in income? Please explain that to me.
I explain myself again. Agent make his decision, his valuation of very low rent. It's his market evidence that I am rebuttal.
Okay, but you appreciate the nuance of what I'm saying to you? Your beginning rent and his beginning rent are $300 apart.
By this,
You
just
understand that? You
yes,
see
but
that?
this rebuttal for whole package what today on the hearing.
Okay.
Agent use same evidence over and over.
Okay, and
And every time came a very low conclusion of market value of each properties. And I explain you why by this rebuttal, by showed number, agent, assessor operate, model operate, real number, why our assessment higher, and why should be confirmed.
So,
Main
Mr. Chairman, can I
difference-
ask a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this rebuttal is for all the properties presented today?
Correct.
Thank you.
Then we have the information in front of us. We can go back and forth ourselves. Mr.
Okay,
Newfeld put
just
forward
for-
his information. You have given us rebuttal to that. We can address it as we see fit.
Okay, just for if I correct understand, you stopping me present my rebuttal for public. You can read by itself. It's public information.
Well, the information that you provided, again, when, and Mr. Newfeld does have a point with respect to individual property owners sending in information. If that owner's property has gone through the appeal process, then it is open. When it's not, the department tends to not bring forward the owner's name or the tenant's names, etc. They may have the rates, they may have the areas, they may have the address potentially. But they don't get involved into the names because they do want to keep that at least private to the degree that they can. When it happens that these go to board or to a hearing, then at that point it can come out. And I appreciate that. But at the end of the day here, and the part that maybe I'm not understanding exactly, you have a difference of opinion. You may think, and that's fine, and that's always okay to have. But ultimately, on the specific, certainly for this one and some of the other properties, this one in particular, your starting points are virtually identical. And really all it really is varied on is vacancy and cap rates usually between the two positions. And your rebuttal, and I can tell you that if there's something that you feel is incorrect, fair enough, we can look at the rebuttal information. But I just.
All my rebuttal, privacy of tenants, I has privacy of tenants, no any tenants showed here.
Fair
Which
enough.
tenants, which lease.
Okay, is there
So
anything else you'd like to ask of Mr. Neufeld at this point?
you stopped me for my rebuttal. Thank you. Follow up. I want to go for my rebuttal one by one. Showed what evidence presented in these cases.
Okay. I think we can see that each one of these and each one of Mr. Neufeld's comparisons on this particular property. I see what you've done. I appreciate what you've done. And I think we can hear that we've seen and heard it all at this point. So unless there's further questions that you have of Mr. Neufeld regarding his brief today. And if you do not have any further questions, that's fine.
You stop me. No further questions. Thank you.
Fair enough. Ms. Anderson, any questions of Mr. Neufeld?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Amell, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you very much. And I have no further questions. Any final summation on either party?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Our job here today is to analyze the market evidence. It determines the best conclusion of market value. Agent use for his income approach, very low market evidence. And my rebuttal showed it's much higher original. So he constantly undervalued the subject property, each on his docket. Also, best evidence of market value of the property currently is in May 4th, 2020, subject property sale for 1 million between two not related parties. So I ask board to confer original assessment of 872,000. Thank you. No.
Thank you very much. Mr. Neufeld, any final thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I thought we were just arguing about the cap rate. So that's what we would like to address. I think we're addressing the problems with the building. On a related note, I think that this hearing got really strange really quick. Now, I had made some comments earlier about, and the board can make their own decisions on the interpretation of gross versus net and what each person did and did they do it right. There's no concerns on that part, and you're free to decide what you want. But what really bothers me about this rebuttal stuff is, and I was rather slow the other day when this happened, is that these people have not gone to a hearing. Some of them have not even appealed, and yet their evidence is being used to firm up the city's position. It's not just in the preparation of the role, it's to firm up their argument. And that is objectionable because it did not say in that income and expense form, we plan on using this information to support our argument and to refute the position of another party, another person in it. As a matter of fact, when we write up ours, incidentally, 317 Donald is a great example of that. That was never appealed this year. We manage it. And in our form, we actually said you're not permitted to use this to push forward your own argument or to defend against an assessment role. We are only providing it to you if you're using it to make the new role. And if we appeal it, we get it. We open the door for scrutiny. But when you don't appeal it and it doesn't go to the board, it's not open for scrutiny. The taxpayer has the right to privacy, and the assessment department has overstepped their authority under the act and under common law, or whatever you want to call it. I hesitated for this to go through because I think we should have been represented by legal counsel here. And I'm sorry the board had to deal with this. I told you it's not your problem. It's a problem that is the individual conduct of this assessor. And I'm not hitting on people, but this is not appropriate. I have already filed a complaint on this matter through the appropriate authorities.
And I appreciate those comments, sir. And I'm going to suggest to you that I think at this point, we have the information that we require for both of you. And I do appreciate both positions that were taken today. Respectfully, we have to move on and.
Yes.
That is the-
You're right, and I'm on my soapbox, and that's fine. But you know, this can't happen in a hearing, and you know, sum up the issue here is a financial statement is very easy to read. It's dollars and cents. If there's a dispute over that, we can talk about it. But the interpretations presented today were not appropriate. Thank you.
And I appreciate the comments, sir. So thank you very much for submissions, both of you. And you will have us give you a determination in the near future. And with that, I'm going to say that we've heard all items scheduled today, and this hearing now is adjourned. So again, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
It's my last one too. Going out in a bang.
Thank you. And glad to hear that.
Okay.
For all of us, we're all getting down to the,
Thank
we're
you.
getting down to the last hearing or two. Today's mine also.
Okay, good.